Are you somebody that's interested in starting an Airbnb business, but you have absolutely no idea where to begin? Well, that was my wife and I about a year and a half ago. And today I want to cover three main categories that I believe are the most important to help you start your Airbnb business. All right, so the first category we're going to focus on is actually purchasing the Airbnb. So I do believe that this is one of the most important aspects of getting started, because you have to buy a home that works properly for an Airbnb. So we're going to talk about a couple instances from the most expensive way to get one down to the cheapest way. Okay, so the most expensive way is to just outright purchase an Airbnb. You have money in the bank, you want to go straight up buy one to be an Airbnb. Now, there are multiple loan options out there when working with a loan officer, so I would recommend speaking to one on your own to determine other methods that might work even better for you. But the most popular ones I'm going to cover, number one being the conventional investment loan. Okay, so a conventional investment loan means that you are purchasing that property solely for the purpose of it being an investment property. Now, what that's going to require is a lender typically is going to ask you for 20% down on that property, which depending on the purchase price of the property, could be a lot of money. If it's a $200,000 house, that's $40,000 in down payment, not including closing costs. If that's a $500,000 house, now you're looking at $100,000 as a down payment, not including closing costs. Okay, so it can start to rack up a little bit in terms of how much that costs you. And with it being an Airbnb, if you're not buying it furnished, you're going to have some more costs associated with this purchase. So just keep that in mind, that this does require some capital up front. Now, why would I buy an investment property outright with a conventional investment loan? Well, the benefit to doing this is you have complete control over how the property looks, the aesthetic, the presentation of the property. And in my opinion, that presentation of the property is pretty important. Okay, so how does the property look from the outside? Everybody knows what is like an Airbnb kind of feel to a property. Does it look like an Airbnb? Is it cute? Does it have some character to it? Does it stand out, right? Those are some things that matter. Another thing that matters along with that is, how does the street look? If someone shows up to this area and they've never been here before and they're on a street with other residential houses, does it feel like a quiet, calm, inviting, enjoyable street that they would want to bring their family to? You might find a beautiful house on a not so beautiful street, and somebody might give you a bad review because they don't like the street. So those are the things that matter. So with that conventional investment loan, you are able to 100% choose the property that you want to buy, and you can purchase it however you want to and make sure that it fits what you're looking for. So the second way to purchase an Airbnb is going to be by using a second home vacation loan. All right, there's a lot of different terms that lenders and other people use to describe it, but it is a second home or vacation home loan. Okay, so typically this is going to require on average about 10% down versus 20% down. So now if you go with a second home vacation loan, you have cut that initial cost of the down payment in half, from 20% to 10%. So now on a $500,000 property, you are cutting that down to $50,000 versus $100,000. So it can make a big difference. There are some stipulations with the second home loan, or the vacation home loan. It's got to usually be either a certain distance of miles away from your primary residence, or it's got to be in a certain town that's described as a vacation home town, things like that. So if you're buying a condo at the beach, or you're buying a cabin in the mountains, things like that probably would typically qualify for that second home vacation loan. But that is going to be dependent on your lender. You've got to speak with them and know for sure if that's an option for you. But ultimately, that's a way that you can get an investment property or Airbnb with only 10% down. Now, our third purchase option and the least expensive option is to take a home that you already own, whether it's your primary home or another investment property that you already have, and you convert that into a short-term rental or an Airbnb. Now, this is the cheapest because you already own the property, so it's easy for you to go ahead and just make it an Airbnb. But the downside is that you have no control over what the property looks like in terms of the aesthetic on the outside, okay? So when you're purchasing one, you can choose it specifically based on how it looks. When you already own it, you can't change the way that it looks unless you paint, things like that. So you have less control over the aesthetic of it. Now, that depends on the location that you're renting in. But using a home you already own is an option, and a lot of people do it. That's as the Airbnb boom kind of hit. A lot of people were taking houses that they already owned and just turning them into Airbnbs. So you got to take a look at your market, understand what other houses look like that are Airbnbs that are renting in your market. Does yours stand out in a good way or a bad way? Do other rentals around you have a lot of charm, but yours doesn't? You need to really consider your competition to make sure that the way that your property you own looks is going to work as an Airbnb, because not every property can be an Airbnb. So just understand that. Really do your research before you decide to turn something that you currently own into an Airbnb, because it might not work out the way that you would like it to.
Okay, that's all we have for today's video. If you are somebody who is interested in this information, my wife and I are building a community of people who are interested in investing in their future, whether that is financially, that's with your health and your fitness, or that's with your family. Whatever it is, you want to be better, and we are called The Young and Invested. So if that's something you're interested in, consider visiting us at TheYoungAndInvested.com. The link is in the description. Check out our other social media pages. We are interested in finding people that want to grow like we do, coming together and making our lives better for each other. So please join us, consider reaching out to us and connecting with us. We'd love to hear from you, and we cannot wait to bring you more content, bring you more information, and hopefully meet up with you one day.